Hi everybody, this is Dustin Olverson with Grid Richmond. Got my Grid shirt on today. So what I'm doing today is I'm evaluating a property and underwriting the deal. So just about underwriting the deal, it's not just about underwriting the cost when you're talking about the 70% rule and the ARV and your return on investment, but you also have to think about the location. So this is always a challenging location when you're working in a city just because of permits, city requirements, streets, historical zones, the type of neighborhood you're in, and the demand. So what I tend to do is look at all my comps in a neighborhood. And when you're looking at comps, I'm not talking about looking on a computer and looking at comps. I'm actually on the street, walking the house, evaluating the comps. What's next to the property? What's across the street from the property? You can't be passive in flipping real estate. You're not an investor as in lending funds. You're an active operator. So what I do is I walk up and down the street. I look at houses. Oh, this is a really cool one right here. It's a really cool house right here. And kind of see what's going on. Like I noticed there's a church across the street over here. You should be able to see it in my background right here. There's a lot of noise on the road. There's a lot of abandoned properties, and there's also one across the street for sale that is very similar. So I'll actually walk 2 blocks up, 2 blocks to the left. I'll go around the corner sometimes and really get a feel of what's going on in the neighborhood. Because just to flip a house is not flipping. It's going to get you caught in a lot of trouble eventually. You're going to get into something that you can't get out of, and you may actually stall your progress of you actually becoming the flipper you want. So walk in the neighborhood, and if you see somebody, say hi. You can actually talk to them, get a little bit of intelligence of what's going on, and then cross the street. There's some more. Here goes one right here. Needs a lot of work on it. And evaluating and underwriting the location and not just a project, and doing them both. So I underwrite the project, construction, then I also underwrite the loan, and also underwrite the location. And the 3 of them will get you a good return on investment. It's not just about the ARV. All right, so now I'm behind the house. So something that really throws off a lot of things, especially in the Churchill area or in the cities, is there's a lot of new construction. Here's an ADU behind a building. Here's new construction here. There's new construction there. There's some way back over here as well in the background. And a lot of people will send me properties and they're comping all this stuff out. And they're not looking at the additional units that may be on the property. They're not looking at is there a garage. And then sometimes I'm seeing a lot of people put in comps of new construction along with pre-existing homes, and it really just throws off of everything. And then also you need to make sure the bedrooms match. I like walking alleys because one, you could kind of see what's really going on in the neighborhood. The front may be a little rough, but if you go behind and you see it even rougher, or sometimes you go behind and the front's looking good and the back is horrible, it's telling you a lot of other things are going on. And don't just come out here early in the morning when it's quiet so I could really see what's going on. I actually ran another property this weekend and I went in the evening to see what was going on. So going different times, just like if you were going to buy a house to purchase, is also very important. So you want to walk these alleys, you want to walk the front of the house, and you want to walk the neighborhood. So I'm going to keep on going. So on at another property, we actually just finished flipping this one, and you'll see our sign is right there. We got it up. And it's a great house and a lot of great feedback. But again, doing in the city, we got some complaints that people were sitting on the stoop a lot of times when people wanted to show the houses, so they would keep moving. So we got lots of showings, but people canceling showings right before. So what we're finding out, what I did was talk to the neighbors and say, hey, what's going on here? There's a lot of renovated houses here. We priced it right. And what they let us know that was people were coming and using that electrical box, that's why I have a lock on it, and sitting here at night and charging their phones. If you see one, there's one across over there as well, to the point that they've actually had to lock up their water hoses because they were actually using that as well. So there's always challenges. That's something I've learned that is added to my kit bag, to be aware of that and not make the property so accessible. They love the neighborhood, they love what's going on, they like what we did, but there's still a lot of people and a lot of activity 2 streets down that was not aware of, but I am now. So the other house that I'm looking at is actually 2 or 3 blocks behind me, and I'm gonna definitely pay attention to what I'm doing this time. And I'm actually gonna offer a lot lower price for this house because of the challenges that come with it. All right, so I'm inside the flip. So when we were walking around outside in the front and the back, this was about 2-3 streets north from this property. Now I'm in the house that we flipped afterwards. And so I just wanted to remind you guys that when you're underwriting your flip, because you have to actually underwrite your deal. It's not just a 70% roll. It's not just ARV. It's not just about how much you're putting in construction. It's also the location. You need to underwrite the location and not look at comps that are just a quarter mile, but actually, especially when you're in the city, actually walk the 3 or 4 blocks around the project that you're thinking about doing, because the houses and the neighborhoods, the style of houses, whether it's historic, whether it's, off city or not, will really make a difference in the city. So it's always good just to walk around it. It's also good to do a little bit of research on the zoning that you're in and how the property is looked at. Because actually this house is actually historic and the one 2 blocks over is not. So we had to get a lot of approvals on the exterior on this property, where over there where we're at, we will not have to. And those little bit of things, one, change how long you're in a project, also about how much money you're gonna spend on that project. So you wanna really underwrite a lot of things. And also the loan. When you're looking at the loan, I actually underwrite all my loans as well. Even though I might be doing private money or hard money, I always underwrite it as well, just as if I was the lender lending the money. And I don't use any of my emotions. I strictly stick with the numbers. And the same thing you'd have to do with the neighborhood. When you're walking a neighborhood, you really got to take it in for what it is and take a sense in on what you're seeing and apply that to discounting or even increasing what your ARV may be. And I never go to the top of my ARV. Learned that a while ago. So this house I think is a 350 ARV. I'm really comfortable going in at about 339. Because when you go to the top of ARV, you don't leave any room for error. That means that you're set, that you're gonna make this amount, this is what's gonna happen, and from my experience, it usually doesn't. So be really careful when underwriting your deal. Remember, everybody, walk your locations, get to know your street, speak to your neighbors to your left and your right, in front of you, and if you can, behind you. Get to know what you're doing and talk to them about what you're doing. Because I'd rather them complain to me, they have my phone number, and let me know what's going on versus calling the police or calling the city in some circumstances. So if you're selling a house, looking to buy a house, give me a call, Dustin Olverson, 804-601-6611. Send me a text, easiest way to get to me. And if you need help flipping a house, give me a reach out. Maybe you never know, maybe I'll show up and help you out. All right, guys, I want you to have a great day. And remember, underwrite your deals.